because our next speaker is Martin van Brauman. Martin enjoys regular visits to Israel on business, a privilege, of course. This coincides with his deep interest in what may be termed sacred geography, both Jewish and Christian. And you'll see how his material is informed by that in a moment. Over to you, Martin.
Yes, yeah, unlike all the other maps of the world, you know, the contents of the maps of the Holy Land in Jerusalem, they communicate sacred geography and sacred space, and they portray the historic narratives that are in the Bible. What I'm going to try and do is first show you the current map of Jerusalem, and I guess if you can go to the dots, yeah, I want to sort of pick out different points, and then I'll relate that to the map by Como Kio of 1570. And they all relate to religious events that have occurred in the city. You might zero down on number 4, the Jaffa Gate. This was well, it's right behind, you have the Tower of David that you see, and behind it is the Jaffa Gate, which was built in the 12th century by knights from Pisa, Italy. Now, Tower of David was a Crusader palace during the Crusader period, but it was also an ancient fortification going back probably over 2,500 years. And the current Temple of David dates from the Mamluk period, which ended after the Crusader period. But this was a palace. Actually, the Byzantine Christians thought it was the palace of King David, and it was the palace for the kingdom of Jerusalem during the time of the Crusades. So a very historic place. You zoom back, want to show, I guess in the map, maybe over to number 1, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Just if you just pull up nearby and zoom in to number 1, there is the 2 domes. Down under the bottom dome is the French Romanesque front to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. To the right is basically where they show or enclosed Golgotha. The big dome underneath is the Holy Sepulchre itself, which we'll show in a minute. Now, if you back out and back out in the map, I guess to zoom out and hit number 7, that area, I was going to show you, yeah, and zoom in a little bit more. That is the Ruins Synagogue, or the Hurva Synagogue. What's interesting, there's been a synagogue this is the Jewish quarter since 1583. Of course, it's been destroyed, and then a synagogue was built in 1864 that was destroyed in 1948. Then it was rebuilt. What you're seeing is they call it still the Hurva Synagogue, the ruined synagogue. This was rebuilt a few years ago. Now, if you zoom back out and go to maybe number 8, this is on Mount Zion. And now I'm going to show this on the ancient map. This is this Domitian Abbey. What's remarkable, after the destruction of the temple in 70 AD and the further destruction in 135, basically the Jewish and Christian community was on Mount Zion. It was outside the city walls. As you know, Jews were forbidden to be within the city walls, and also Christians had their issue. The first, you might say, religious place was there. Eventually, there were like 7 synagogues on Mount Zion. You also had Christian churches, and in the beginning they worshiped together. And then eventually you had a Byzantine church built, the Hagia Zion, and then later that was destroyed. And then, of course, what you see now is this abbey outside the Christian walls. Now, if you go back out and maybe
We should probably go to the map pretty soon.
oh, okay.
I
Well,
just
maybe
want,
two. This will show the Church of the, in terms of the Dome of the Rock area, just to show you, you know, that's the Dome of the Rock. The and then of course down below where the arrow is, or further, yeah, that's the mosque. And I guess maybe just go ahead to the next slide. And what it shows is the basically the quarters around the late 1400s, early 1500s. The Jewish Christian quarters, all these quarters were put in place. And also wanted to point out, you'll see the Villa del Rosa. That's the Stations of the Cross, where Christian pilgrims would start from St. Stephen's Gate and then go along the Villa del Rosa. There's 14 Stations of the Cross, ending at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. May go ahead to the next map. This, you know, map is called the City of Jerusalem by Giovanni Francesco Camocchia, printed in Venice, 1570, Latin edition, copper plate engraving. It was a single sheet map from a bound collection of maps of the continents. It was published without a title. He was a contemporary of Abraham Ortelius. He was active in Venice from 1558 to 1575. He was a member of the Lafferty School, very famous map makers. During this time period between Munster's Geographica in 1540 in Basel and Ortelius's Terrarium in 1570 in Antwerp, Venice and Rome were the centers of European map and chart trade. What they were doing was they were taking large woodcut maps, and turning them into copper engraved maps. And of course, Mercator, Ortelius, and others would then copy the Italian copper plate engraved maps as templates. Now, this map is based upon the Borculius map of Jerusalem, 1538. He went on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem in 1536 to 1538. And his map adheres to the historic city. It was a woodcut, and of course, Camocchia turned it into a copper plate. Yeah, if you go to, let's see, I guess there's, this is a realistic map of the time because the city walls there's no destruction of the city walls. That confirms the rebuilding of the gates by Solomon the Magnificent from 1536 to 1538. That's where other maps from other pilgrimages will show walls in disrepair, which shows that they were from an earlier pilgrimage. Now, Jerusalem is viewed from the Mount of Olives. And so what you have is a focus on the, the Temple Mount, which is number one. You have number 13 is the Golden Gate, or the Eastern Gate, which was sealed right after the Mamelukes defeated the Crusaders, because through the Eastern Gate, or the Golden Gate, is where the Messiah is supposed to re-enter Jerusalem, in the New Jerusalem, in the end of days. So the Muslims sealed it up after they conquered Jerusalem. To the right on number 14 is Stephen's Gate. And that's also the beginning of the Villa del Rosa, basically the Stations of the Cross that ends in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And there's another picture of the courtyard where you enter into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, very famous. Then I guess I want to move to, let's see, number 2 is their interpretation of the citadel, the Tower of David, and behind that is the Jaffa Gate. Then I want to go to maybe, let's see, maybe drop down, maybe want to emphasize the 2 structures at the bottom. If a pilgrim, since 336, the most important sites you would go to would be the Holy Sepulchre, which you're seeing a picture of today, and then to the left of it is the depiction of it in 1538 of the Holy Sepulchre. That is underneath is the cave, the burial place of Christ. And of course, you have the entrance to the left where pilgrims would enter and go into the cave itself. Now, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is built over it. And of course, it might move to the right time-wise. The other important part that for a pilgrim is to go to the cave of the Nativity in Bethlehem, and of course they built a chapel, and that was the other site that a pilgrim would go to, along with the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, seeing the Holy Sepulchre, and then also doing, I guess, the Villa del Rosa, doing the Stations of the Cross, which knights were doing, pilgrims were doing since the time of Constantine. And of course, they were trying to identify where those sites were. I might, let's see, have time. Number 6.
Mike, how are we doing?
It wasn't me who was playing all that kind of ding dong music, I'm afraid, Martin.
Oh, okay.
But it was somebody who was relevant.
Okay.
And I mean, this is fascinating. I've actually been around here with an Israeli paratrooper who had a different view of this place. But could you just close it down now, please?
Okay. Number 6.
Do you have a final comment to make for us?
Oh, I guess final comment. When you look at, Jerusalem today, and you look at the early maps, it's fascinating. The whole history there. I might mention there's 8 Islamic minarets, and of course they were put up to show the dominance of Islam over Christianity and Judaism. It's of course you won't find them today, but during that time period. Also, you might see a lot of empty spaces, especially around the Damascus Gate. During that time period, there were a number of empty areas that, had never been rebuilt after
it's very striking.
And then, of course, you have, that's supposed to show a man and a donkey. And I think, and also, anyway, it's, and the Damascus Gate, which is down below, is has a big tower, wings to it, unbelievable gate, a city gate. It was quite a place. But anyway, it's and also this has the.
Hey, Martin! I'm gonna really have to stop you. Your enthusiasm it's infectious, but
okay.
And I know Jerusalem's, but in fact, I was at Damascus Gate looking for bullet holes, but other reasons to be there, of course.
Yes.
Really, we do need to stop because Daniel is hanging on in the wings there,
right,
being polite.